Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Om Shri Ram Krishna
भगवान की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, श्री अम्बे मात की जय, श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय।
दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी, अखिया प्यासी रे। दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी, अखिया प्यासी रे। दर्शन दो दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम मंदिर मंदिर मूरत तेरी फिर भी न देखी सूरत तेरी मंदिर मंदिर मूरत तेरी फिर भी न देखी सूरत तेरी युग बीते ना आए मिलन की युग बीते ना आए मिलन की पूर्णमासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम द्वार दया कर जब तू खोले पंचम सुर में गूंगा बोले द्वार दया का जब तू खोले पंचम सुर में गूंगा बोले अंधा देखे लंगड़ा चल कर अंधा देखे लंगड़ा चल कर पहुँचे काशी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम पानी पी कर प्यास बुझाओ नैन को कैसे समझाओ पानी पी कर प्यास बुझाओ नैन को कैसे समझाओ आँख में छोली छोड़ो अब तो आँख में छोली छोड़ो अब तो मन के बासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम मन मंदिर की ज्योति जगा दो मन मंदिर की ज्योति जगा दो घट घट वासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम नाथ मोरी अखिया प्यासी रे दर्शन दो घनश्याम ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय
गोविन्दा हरि गोविन्दा गोपाला हरि गोपाला नारायण हरि गोविन्दा भक्तवत्सल गोविन्दा परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण करुणागर परधामा करुणागर परधामा शरणागति पुगंदोमे शरणागति पुगंदोमे परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण सगल पुवन परिपाला हरि हरि वनशीला सगल पुवन परिपाला हरि हरि वनशीला दीननादने कावा वारलोलने वावा दीननादने कावा वारलोलने वावा परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण देवगी प्रिय गोपाला दीन दयाला नमो नमो देवगी प्रिय गोपाला देवगी प्रिय गोपाला दीन दयाला नमो नमो रुक्मणी प्रिय गोविंद आदिरूप सुंदर नमो नमो रुक्मणी प्रिय गोविंद आदिरूप सुंदर नमो नमो परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण वन मुरली मनोहर वाणव देवा नमो नमो श्रीधर वन मुरली मनोहर वाणव देवा नमो नमो गोकुल नंदन मोहन रूपण गोवर्धन नमो नमो गोकुल नंदन मोहन रूपण गोवर्धन नमो परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण करुणागर परधामा करुणागर परधामा शरणागति पुगंदोमे शरणागति पुगंदोमे परम पावना कृष्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण परमात्मन परिपूर्ण
श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय।
एक बार मोहन मारे વસ્તુનો અભાવો રે, બીજી વસ્તુનો અભાવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. નાની સી ઝૂંપડીને મન મારા મોટરા, નાની સી ઝૂંપડીને મન મારા મોટરા. માથે સંકોચન લાવો રે, માથે સંકોચન લાવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. શંકર કહે પ્રભુ પ્રેમને અહીન છે, શંકર કહે પ્રભુ પ્રેમને અહીન છે. હે તે હરિ ગુણ ગાવો રે, હે તે હરિ ગુણ ગાવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. મારે મંદિરે આવો મારા વાલા, મારે મંદિરે આવો મારા વાલા. મારા આંગણ્ય શોભાવો રે, મારા આંગણ્ય શોભાવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. શંકર કહે પ્રભુ પ્રેમને અધીન છે, શંકર કહે પ્રભુ પ્રેમને અધીન છે. હે તે હરિ ગુણ ગાવો રે, હે તે હરિ ગુણ ગાવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. એકવાર 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 મોહન મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. મારે મંદિરે આવો રે, મારે મંદિરે આવો રે. મારે મંદિરે આવો રે.
ઓમ શ્રી રામ કૃષ્ણ ભગવાન કી જય. પવન સુત હનુમાન કી જય. શ્રી અંબે અંબે માત કી જય. શ્રી કૃષ્ણ કનૈયા લાલ કી જય.
Om Namo Narayanaya to all friends and respected elders. Gita Jayanti was celebrated on 25th December. It is the only scripture that has its own special day of celebration. I have chosen the topic on the relevance, importance, and application of the Bhagavad Gita during this time of the pandemic that we are all going through. The most important source of all the teachings and principles of Hinduism and Vedanta are found in the Vedas and Upanishads. A summary of all these teachings are the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, the Gita is known as the Song of God and is considered one of the most important scriptures that is to be read and studied by all Hindus. We find ourselves in a time of crisis, and our situation is the same as that of Arjuna. The first chapter of the Gita is called the Despondency of Arjuna. Arjuna represents all devotees, and he requests guidance from Shri Krishna. His exact words are, "My mind gropes in darkness. I cannot see where my duty lies, Shri Krishna. I beg you, tell me frankly and clearly what I ought to do. I am your disciple. I put myself into your hands. Show me the way." Thus, this request of Arjuna is on behalf of all those who are distressed during this present time. It is on behalf of all the students and the youth, on behalf of all parents and householders, on behalf of all those employed and self-employed attempting to earn a living, and on behalf of the retired and the elderly. Thus, the first response and reaction to a crisis is, figuratively speaking, like Arjuna, to throw down your bow and arrow and refuse to fight. That is, refuse to act. Depression and negativity lead to inaction. One must bear in mind always that the Gita demands action. One cannot have a fatalistic attitude and say, whatever is to be, that we are victims of our karma and are at the mercy of our own destiny. Some even go so far as to say that you should leave everything to God, otherwise you have no faith in God or your faith is weak. Now Arjuna also presented these so-called clever and so-called noble arguments to Shri Krishna as excuses not to act or not to do anything. So how should one act? Swami Vivekananda states that under all circumstances, one should use logic, reason, and rationality in all decisions. And then logic and reason itself will guide you to a space where reason is no longer required. So in our current crisis, logic and reason demand that we follow the simple and clear guidelines to protect ourselves physically. Although this is continuously repeated, it must be followed without exception. That is, wash your hands, wear a mask, preferably not to go out, but if you do, to practice social distancing. Physically, also one should attempt to keep fit by simple exercises and hatha yoga. Having emphasized logic, Shri Krishna also provides for simple faith when he says that one can offer a flower, a leaf, or fruit, or just even water, and he will accept that offering if done with faith. The important thing is that one needs to act. Thus, in addition to bhakti, one must make time for prayer and sadhana, morning and evening. This means, if possible, and if it is comfortable and pleasant, that family should pray together, or the following can be done individually. Light the lamp, say a prayer mentally or in a group. If need be, follow the prayer book. But most important, to attempt to meditate as stated by Shri Krishna in chapter 6 of the Gita. He gives clear guidelines as to how you should sit and repeat the name of your favorite deity. Keeping a calm, positive and strong mind is an art that has to be practiced, whether you consider yourself religious or not. The Bhagavad Gita provides for so-called atheists and skeptics as well. Thus, philosophically, one needs to practice jnana yoga. The Bhagavad Gita provides for all the philosophies in Hinduism. Hinduism is in existence for more than 3,000 years, and this leads to many sophisticated paths to God. Fortunately, even though the Gita contains only 700 verses, all these philosophies find their foundation in the Gita. The most important parts are Advaita, which means non-dualism, Dvaita, which is dualism, and qualified non-dualism. The Mahabharata contains more than 100,000 verses. Sometimes one tends to think that you have to read the entire Mahabharata to appreciate the Gita. Swami Sarvapriyananda of the Ramakrishna order states that during these times it is better to focus only on the Bhagavad Gita. As the cream of the Vedas is the Upanishads, the cream of the Mahabharata is the Gita. Shri Krishna confirms that in chapter 4 verse 11 that in whatever way devotees worship me, the same way I fulfill their desires. For in all ways, O Partha, devotees walk in my path. Thus you not only have the freedom to choose the path, but the method within that path is also by your choice. However, you have to keep physically fit and have a strong, calm mind that leads to clear thinking. There are many who believe that the Bhagavad Gita emphasizes karma yoga. Yes, you must act depending on what your duties are, whether as a student or a mother providing for the family. You have to always attempt to act in a friendly, positive and sattvic manner, and not become easily irritable, demanding or rajasic. Most importantly, do not become tamasic, which means do not give in to anger, frustration and laziness. The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that you should do your duty, but do not look for praise and reward, but offer the fruits thereof to God. Arjuna's despondency represents individuals, families, organizations, communities, towns and cities, the entire country, and now the entire world. Thus, Shri Krishna's message is applicable to all. We are grateful that Shri Krishna provides order and balance in his method, so that we need not proceed in a haphazard manner. He also reassures us when he says, Arjuna, know for certain, my devotee never perishes. When Arjuna and Duryodhana visit Shri Krishna, Arjuna sits at his feet and Shri Krishna sees him first and invites him to make a request. Thereafter he sees Duryodhana and also invites him to make a request. The choice he offers them is that they can have either all his material resources or they can choose him on his own, unarmed. Duryodhana chooses all the material resources and Arjuna chooses Shri Krishna himself. We must ask ourselves what we would choose today if we were given this choice. Swami Sarvapriyananda poses an interesting question. Why does Shri Krishna preach the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna and not to Duryodhana, who certainly has a greater need for it? Duryodhana actually provides the answer and he states, I know that what I do is wrong, but I cannot stop myself. I know what is right, but cannot practice it. But we are like Arjuna. We want to do right, but need guidance and direction to do right. The Bhagavad Gita states that one must follow the following two precepts to right action. Persistently and continuously to perform dharmic and righteous acts, and stop performing adharmic actions. Sri Ramakrishna states that the more you walk towards the east, step by step, the further you walk away from the west. Life will always present us with problems of varying magnitude, and surmounting these problems constitute progress in life. However, this pandemic sometimes seems to be insurmountable, as Arjuna was always a hero, but also he is now faced with an insurmountable problem and needs divine guidance to tide over this major difficulty. We need the teachings of the Gita to guide us. Sri Sarada Devi says, difficulties will come, but if one makes a habit of prayer, they will flow away like water under a bridge. Thus, both the secular and sacred aspects of life are abundantly enriched by the teachings of the Gita. Unfortunately, there is also much misinformation, superstition, and rumor regarding the pandemic, vaccines, and healthcare generally. Thus, it is imperative to read the Bhagavad Gita and its commentaries by scholars and realized souls, and generally to increase our reading and verify all information. Shri Krishna says that yoga is skill in action, and even-mindedness is yoga. Let us hope that we can all say with Arjuna, by your grace, O Lord, my delusions have been dispelled. My mind stands firm. Its doubts are ended. I will do your bidding. Thank you.
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
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 जो भी तुम्हारे पाठ करेंगे
जो भी तुम्हारे पाठ करेंगे
उसको कभी ना दुख घेरेंगे
उसको कभी ना दुख करेंगे
जो भी तुम्हारे पाठ करेंगे
जो भी तुम्हारे पाठ करेंगे
उसको कभी ना दुख घेरेंगे
उसको कभी ना दुख घेरेंगे
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
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 तुम्ही हो माता तुम्ही हो देवता
तुम ही हो माता तुम ही हो देवता
तुम्ही हो माता तुम्ही हो देवता
तुम ही हो माता तुम ही हो देवता
तुम्ही हो माता तुम्ही हो देवता
तुम ही हो माता तुम ही हो देवता
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
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 कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
कितना सुंदर कितना मीठा
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
जय 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 श्री भगवत गीता
तुम्ही हो माता तुम्ही हो देवता Bhagavad Gita.
Jai 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 Shri Bhagavad Gita.
Jai 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 Shri Bhagavad Gita.
Om Shri Ram Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Adharam Madhuram Vadanam Madhuram Nayanam Madhuram Hasitam Madhuram Hridayam Madhuram Gamanam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Vachanam Madhuram Charitam Madhuram Vasanam Madhuram Valitam Madhuram Charitam Madhuram Ramitam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Venur Madhuror Venur Madhuram Panir Madhuram Pado Madhuro Vrityam Madhuram Satyam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Geetam Madhuram Geetam Madhuram Bhaktam Madhuram Suktam Madhuram Rupam Madhuram Tilakam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Paranam Madhuram Taranam Madhuram Haranam Madhuram Ramanam Madhuram Vamitam Madhuram Shamitam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Kunja Madhura Mala Madhura Yamuna Madhura Vichi Madhura Salilam Madhuram Kamalam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Gopi Madhura Leela Madhura Yuktam Madhuram Muktam Madhuram Dreshtam Madhuram Shreshtam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Gopa Madhura Gavo Madhura Yashtir Madhura Shreshtir Madhura Dalitam Madhuram Palitam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram Madhuradhipate Akhilam Madhuram. Om Shri Ram Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Pavana Sutta Hanuman ki Jai. Shri Ambe Ambe Mata ki Jai. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai.
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. Let us sit calmly, be relaxed, and think of any aspect of God that you like. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verses 15 and 16, words that cause no offense, which are truthful, pleasant and beneficial, and also regular recitation of the scriptures, these are said to be austerity of speech. Serenity of mind, gentleness, silence, self-control, and purity of heart. These are said to be mental austerity. May Shri Krishna bless us so that we can benefit by practicing these teachings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत्।
जय श्री गुरु महाराज की
जय।
महामाई की
जय।
स्वामी जी महाराज की
जय।
गंगा मात की
जय।
महावीर स्वामी जी की
जय।
सर्व ऋषि मुनीन की
जय। पार्वती पतये हर